Hi, this is Mary Kay. Today we are painting the Sierra Buttes from Sand Pond, which is on Highway 49. This is late afternoon. And the first thing I want to say is that if you have this photo is from Lynn, and I've just made it go out to the edges. So just draw it out past the sides here. And I used water-soluble tracing paper. I didn't put the trees in. I just traced the buttes and the light areas of the buttes and the horizon line. The first thing that I want to talk about is values. So this is called a grayscale or value finder. It's just a photocopy and I've punched holes in it. So number 1 is black. The blackest black you can get, number 1. And the whitest white you can get is value 10. So there's no pure white on this. There's no pure white. It's all has color. The lightest thing on this painting is the highlights in the buttes. And I would put that at a value of 9. And then the sky, it's a 9 or an 8. And then the dark part of the buttes is, that's like a 7, a 6 at the most. That's a mid-tone, but it's definitely darker than the sky. So this is lighter than the sky, then this is darker. The trees have the darkest darks down here at the shadows, and you can put that pretty close to a 1 or a 2. And then the bright greens, this is the brightest green right here. It was really bright on the day. So we can go back up to like an 8. And then the reflections. What's important to know about reflections is that reflections always go towards the midtone. So if this bright green here is, say, an 8, then the reflection is going to be more toward the mid-tone. And if you have a really dark here, like almost a 9 or a 10, when it reflects down here, see, it lightens up. It goes towards the mid-tone. It goes more towards, say, a 4. I said that wrong. If this is a 2, the tree, the darkest spot's a 2. See how the reflection is more of a mid-tone. It's lighter. And the opposite, if you have a bright green, then the reflection is more mid-tone. It's not as bright. It's dull. The reflections are always duller. That's the thing I wanted to point out. So this is just a small picture, so you can see that. First thing I'm going to do is start with the sky. I'm going to take my 3/4 inch brush and wet the sky. These buttes are just so beautiful. If you ever get to go up there, it's about 45 minutes north of Truckee or Donner. It's by Gray Eagle or Portola. If you've ever been up in that area, that's where it is. It's so beautiful. Okay, so there's my sky is wet. And I'm just gonna go with cerulean. I might try a little Antwerp in there and see what it does. Yeah, it's not bad. Okay, so now skies are always darker at the top and get lighter as they go down because of atmospheric perspective. So the way that I do that is I start with my paint at the top and then I don't add paint as I come down. Going around all those nooks and crannies. See, so now this is the lowest part of the sky, so I don't add any paint to it. I'm just using what's in my brush, and it gets lighter as I go down. And then don't touch your sky. That's the trick. I am going to wipe off the paint off the edge of this paper though, because it gets stuck in the cut, and then can make a watermark later. Okay, so now I'm going to give that just a chance to dry a little bit, and I'm going to mix up a darker color. I think it's because I have cerulean in the sky, I'm going to use cerulean. I'm going to put a little French into it. Let's see how that looks. And I'm going to add a little bit of permanent rose. That I added too much permanent rose, so let's try more French. And more cerulean. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Okay. Now the problem is that the highlights are very, very pale. So what I'm going to start doing now is just go, yeah, that's about right. See, so this is actually pale color. The hardest thing to do is to keep these colors pale so that that mountain looks far back. In fact, I want to just go to this brush here. Okay, so, alrighty. I'm just painting. All right. This is the trick. The trick is to get this mountain to be pale. So when I'm looking at my grayscale, it's about a 9. It doesn't matter what medium you're using. When you're painting a mountain that's far back from you, it has to be pale. It's so tempting just to paint it dark, because that's how we see and we know it's dark, but in a painting it's really, it's not. Sort of scrubbing this. This got a little darker than I wanted. See if I can lift that a little bit. It's pretty messy. That's okay though. I think it's gonna. Okay. Another fun thing to do is when you have these colors down is just to add a little bit of one of the colors that you've added so that it changes the tint a little bit. So there, I just added just pure French into that. And I can add another color. I can try some, yeah, actually that's nice. This was sepia. I just added in there. I'm going to add a little more permanent rose. And then, okay. Now I'm going to make sure that has a lot of water because this is almost white. Yeah. My highlights. Actually wanted those lighter than the sky. Didn't quite get them there, but that's okay. I'll go with this. It's an ideal. It doesn't have to be, don't have to be perfect. I'm being very kind of loose with this. Doesn't look like much of a mountain now, but it's going to when we get those trees in. Okay. Gonna go back in and darken. I say darken, but really it's very, very pale paint. I think this is blurring because my sky is still wet. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I am going to go in with the light greens on this. Here's when Lynn and I were at this lake, at this pond, we were swimming. And when you get up close to these green bushes, they were so green and the trees were really tall. These two trees were up over into the buttes. So what I'm going to do now is start putting in these greens. So I'm going to mix a bunch of greens. I need to have a really bright green, very so the bright green is yellow and Antwerp, even more yellow, almost all yellow. There, it's getting close there. And then I want to make a really dark green, and the really dark green is Antwerp and burnt sienna. That's a beautiful, beautiful green. I'm also going to make an even darker green, which is going to be Antwerp. And sepia. Or you could use, oh, that's good. No, that's not as good. Sepia was better. That was a neutral tint. Yeah, so the Antwerp and the sepia make a really, really good dark green. It looks green. Whereas when I put in the neutral tint, it went to black because there's soot in the neutral tint. Okay, so now what I want to do, I'm going to switch to my 3/4 inch flat. I'm going to wet my tree area. I have some dark color in my brush so you can see where the water is. Okay. I'm going to start with the light greens. I might even just almost start with more yellow, just like almost a pure yellow. And I'm going to put it in here, and definitely I want it here. These bushes down here I'll make them dark right where they hit the water, but there's light green here. I am painting the mass of the trees here. I am not painting any individual trees or any individual needles. This is just the pure mass. Actually, now that I'm at the top, I'm just making little peaks, but you can see this is just a mass of color. Now I'm going to go into the dark dark green and start adding the dark greens in. So there's some dark greens at the bottom by the lake here. They're making the bushes look round. This is dark. This is dark going up. The way that I'm painting this is my brush. This is a 3/4 inch flat, and I'm holding it so that I'm making lines. Just I touch it and it makes a line. But because it's all wet into wet, it's making these. It was blurring. Now this is dried, and so it's not blurring. And I'm making this weird tree taller than it is in the photo. And I don't want to be too, I'm just going to take this up because that's how it was when we were swimming. So there. And it has like the weird, it's a weird tree. So I don't know what kind of tree it is. They don't have it listed as a weird tree, but they should have that listed somewhere. The weird tree. Okay, and then I'm just putting it in like this. I'll go in again and put some more there. Over here we have a tree that goes up. Again, this one was up high too. Okay, so see how I just make a line and then I add to it. This one is kind of shaped like this. It goes down. It's going to go, it goes all the way into the darks down here. I'm filling this in with trees. Okay, now I'm gonna just kind of add some darks on top of these yellows. They're gonna blur. Unless I go up into the dry, then they're gonna look like little peaks. Over here we have a tree. It's got yellows and darks. I'm just kind of going out to the edge of the painting here, down to here. Okay, so we need to have some trees here. More definition into these yellows. Again, the way that I paint this is just, see my brush is flat, and I just touch it a little bit. Just make these, and they because it's wet into wet, they sort of just like make their own trees. Okay, actually, I'm not disliking this. One thing I'd like to do, if I can get away with it at this point, is that right in this area, right here, some more trees in the background. And if I can just add a little bit of blue to this green, and then make sure I have enough water in my brush, touch my paper towel, I could go in and I can just put these little pale trees here. See what they're doing? There's like another layer now. They're so sneaky. This is dry, so it's not blurring. And it's lighter. I like those. I like those. I can even just use this color and, you know, put a few more here and there. Okay. That's kind of the basic picture. Now this, let's get going on this reflection. Well, first of all, though, I have to get these real darks in here. And if you want to put the canoe in, I guess, This is too big already. You know, it's so small it makes it, and it really does go up in there. I should have, you're gonna, okay, so this is how big it's gonna be. It's gonna be that big. And it's gonna be bright blue. So that's gonna be cerulean. And then I'm going to, so the reflection of this, oops. I'm gonna touch this a little too bright. The reflection of that is gonna be duller. Okay, so now I'm going to put in darks at the base of this. So this is the really dark green, which is Antwerp and sepia. So this is going to be really dark green in here. So it's still wet into wet. And this is the bottom of the bushes. Going up into this tree. Over here, this darkness goes right over to here. Still, it's dampened to damp right now. That's not actually a technical term, but. And then this one, just the tiniest bit of shadow down there. It's taking me a long time. I'm going to get speeded up here. Otherwise, these are very boring videos to watch. So I'm just adding some more darks here. Trying to make that tree look like it's not, that's connected. Okay, that's going to be my darks. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dab at this a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to wet the bottom. So I'm just going to put the water in now. Oi, that's actually good. That color there. I'm going to be going around that little boat. The canoe. I'm not sure I'd put the canoe in my own painting, but what the heck. It does give it, I made that too big. It's actually so much smaller than that. Okay, so now this is, I've gotten that damped, which is great. And I can see in the picture, there is a reflection right here. I think it's of the mountain. So this is lighter than this. This is medium. So I want to get that color again. These colors here. That was French, cerulean, and a little bit of burnt sienna, I think. So put those in. And now I want to go to those lighter greens. They're not going to be that light though, so I need to make them more of a medium tone. And I'm just going to go under here and bring them down. There's some there. So wherever there is here is where I need to put them in my photograph. And then the darks are not as dark. So probably the thing to do on this is just use a little PBO. Okay, so now And then this one I'm going to bring down. That one. This tree. I'll go more medium on this. I love this dark area here. It really comes down. The little light area. Brushing the sides in so there's my eye's not going to these corners. Okay, now what I'm going to do is squint at this and see where, if there's a dark here, then I'm going to put a little dark below it. Okay, now I'm going to sign it. I'm going to sign this with a credit card because I don't know where my bamboo signer is right now. I'm just going to write my name. I'm going to do MKS Jolly because these credit cards are hard to write with. Okay, and I'm going to just go over that a little bit and see what happens. Okay, like that. You know what? I think it's almost done. I actually like that there's light on the little canoe. I feel like it should be a little darker right above the canoe, but on the other hand, I kind of don't want to touch it anymore. I think I want to be done. So, there we go. Thanks for watching.